Hi, I'm Linda Leviton, and I am here today to talk about what we're going to do together when you come to see me at my office. So, we're going to have some fun. I believe everything should be fun in life. And what I'm doing with you is really figuring out what's exactly important to you so that your parents will know what to ask your teacher to do, what kind of school situation you need, and what you need to know so that you can have the best experience in life and in school. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we are going to do together. First thing, we're going to talk. I'm going to get to know you a little bit. And when you are ready, we will start to do what's called a test. It's an assessment. It's not like the test that you do at school, because you're not expected to get 100% right. At school, to get an A+, you have to get them all right. Whereas what we're doing here, if you get them all right, I'm going to be very surprised because it means that you'll have already learned college work. This assessment is one that is designed for people that are as young as 2 years old and as old as 99. So I wouldn't expect you to have even been taught most of the things that are on this test. But the beginning things, because it starts off easy and it gets harder and harder as we go through each test, the beginning things are going to be very easy for you, and then they're going to get harder. And what I am going to ask you to do is to do as much as you can with what you've already been taught, and to guess if you have any idea on anything, because there's no penalty for guessing. And I happen to know that children often know things that they aren't sure they know. So there are things that you may not have been taught, but you can figure out how to do. So the test itself is 3 sections, and they're things that you normally learn at school. The first one is about what you have learned in terms of reading. And so it starts off with very simple things like just letter recognition, and then it goes as far as longer sentences, and you will be expected to provide some information during some of these. And the first section is just reading words, but the words get really hard at the end. They're college words. So you're just going to read the words that you know and guess at any that you don't know, because you may be able to sound them out. The second test is about learning to figure out what a paragraph or a sentence might mean and providing a word that is missing. So it'll be a sentence with a space and then some other sentences. Well, as the paragraphs get longer, you have to use some real good detection skills to figure out what word goes in that space. Sometimes there are a lot of words that fit, and sometimes there's only one. So you're going to guess. This is my favorite test as it happens because it's sort of like a puzzle. The third part of reading is actually just to see how fast you can read and understand really simple sentences. So I kind of like this test too because they have some really wild things. They're supposed to be really wild. They're things like, apples are purple, or, guessing whether, you don't have to guess anything. You just have to say whether something is true or false. But you have to do it fast. It's one of the 3 time tests. And you have 3 minutes, and you just read a bunch of short sentences and put Y for yes and N for no. The second part of the test is math. Well, you guys know what math usually looks like, just a bunch of math problems that you figure out. Well, generally, when you take a math test at school, it's all the same operation. So you'll have all addition or all subtraction. On this test, you're going to only have a few. You'll have 1 or 2 of each type of calculation, and then it'll get harder really quickly. So you'll start off with single-digit addition, and then you'll go to maybe subtraction, and then some multiplication, and then it'll get harder and harder until, if you know how to do it, which most of the kids that I test don't, they have calculus and trigonometry and geometry. So that test in particular is one where you'll kind of know pretty quickly if you've been taught something. The second test in this one is an applied math. So those are just word problems. And I'm sure you've done word problems before, which are things like, if you had 2 balloons and added another balloon, how many balloons would you have? So that set of questions, you just do as well as you can based on what you've already learned and what you logically can figure out. Sometimes people are really good at figuring out things, even if they haven't learned the way that you're supposed to calculate them, they can use other methods of doing it. So I want you to just try on any of them. And the third one for calculation is another time test, and it's 3 minutes long, really short. And it's basically just math calculation, simple one-digit addition, subtraction, and eventually multiplication. So then the last is the part that takes the longest, mostly because you have to write most of it yourself. And it's the written language section. And the first part of the written language section is a spelling test, just a simple spelling test, but some of the words are pretty hard. And so you just do as many as you've learned or as many as you can sound out. The second part of it that's the long one, because depending on how fast you write or how careful you are, like if you're a perfectionist and you want your writing to look perfect, it'll take you longer, and you'll be given prompts. And so a prompt is where they tell you what you're supposed to do for each one, and each one is different. And it'll just say, write a good sentence that says what's happening in the picture, or use this paragraph, and there's one in the middle that's missing, and just fill in the sentence that's missing. So you'll have to read all 3 sentences in order to know what to put there. So some of it is logic, some of it is for you to actually spend time deciding what you want to write and being creative. I like this one because if you have a good sense of humor, you can be pretty funny, and then it makes it more fun. The third test is the last timed one, and that's a 5-minute test. And what it does is it gives you a picture and 3 words, and you're asked to write a short sentence very quickly that uses all 3 words and tells something about the picture. Well, in that one, you're basically just going to be writing as fast as you can, and so, you won't want to correct things, that sort of stuff. But what we'll be using is this little book, which this is your side. I get to side my own, and it tells me what I have to read to you, because I have to read certain things, and you get to answer certain things. And then you get your own little book. This is the one that you write in, and this is the one that I write in. And what I'm doing the whole time is I'm observing you, and I'm taking all of the things that you do, like I'm looking at how you answer a question. If you go back and correct one, do you get it right most of the time? Do you get it wrong most of the time? And then I'll look at all of my notes and all of the answers, and I'll be able to tell your parents what grade level you should be getting work at. So for instance, if you're in kindergarten and you're getting normal kindergarten work and you're really bored, I can explain it using what I've seen from these tests that, well, the reason he's bored is because he's able to do 3rd grade work or he's able to do 5th grade work. So everything that you tell me and everything you show me is all going to help me to help your parents get you the most fun and interesting experience, both for reading and for life. So I encourage you to do your best. And if you have any questions, you can ask me anything you want during the test, before the test, after the test. I may not be able to answer because there are some things I can't give you answers to the questions, but I will answer to the best of my ability, and my hope is that we'll have some fun doing this and seeing what you know. And I'm looking forward to meeting you. Thanks for watching.